next is Kim Connor.
Hi, my name's Kim, and I'm an acupuncturist, and I actually started in the medical field about 31 years ago as a pharmacist, and I'm still a active pharmacist in pediatrics, and I also do acupuncture. It was probably about 15 or 16 years ago when I moved to Maryland from the Midwest that I started having severe migraine headaches. And knowing the different medications that I would probably end up on if I needed to treat those, I had been doing a lot of Tai Chi at that time, and I had seen a lecture at St. Louis University on acupuncture, and I figured that out of my own ignorance I would figure out if this is really voodoo or not. So I actually went and I started getting treatment for my migraines. And it was very profound to me, the change that I actually noticed. It didn't take my migraines away right away, but it did change the way that I felt. And that's what actually led me to start my training and my work with Dr. J.R. Worsley in classical 5-element acupuncture. And I studied with him from 1993 to 1997, and I continued to study with him up until his passing about 6 years ago. And I continue with Judy Worsley, who is his wife, and who he passed the tradition on to. Acupuncture, it's very interesting listening to all the other practitioners here at the table. The very core basis of classical 5-element acupuncture and acupuncture itself is to really determine the root cause of the energetic imbalance in a person. And when you start thinking about that, how do you really see energy? There is no real way that you can see energy. We feel energy through the pulses which we take, which have either a quality or a volume, which kind of leads us. But a big part of not only listening to people is also seeing and hearing what the person says. And so one of the greatest things that JR taught me was that you needed to listen and you need to be in rapport with the person. Because if that person does not believe that you're listening and hearing what they say and in rapport with them, you'll not be able to do very much. And it's interesting also that coming from my Western background, and whenever I went into studying acupuncture, I figured, okay, there's 365 points plus some master points, and there's certain disease states, and you use these points for these disease states, and it's like putting a puzzle together like you do with I was studying drugs, to figure out structure activity relationships and all these different kinds of things. And fortunately, I realized very quickly that it actually had absolutely nothing to do with that. What it really has to do with is understanding the energy of that person and understanding where the imbalance in their energy has come between body, mind, and spirit. Because when you're treating a person with acupuncture, you're not just treating a symptom or an illness. It's very hard for a lot of people sometimes to make a paradigm shift to understand that, we in the West have really been moved in many ways to say, oh, I have a hurt elbow, or I have colitis, or I have migraines, or I have fibromyalgia, or whatever it may, whatever label it may have. And the real essence of what we try to do is to take away the labels, okay? Because that, if you have fibromyalgia, or you have migraines, or you have colitis, or you have Crohn's disease, or you have muscle aches and things like that, each person, depending on who they are, that treatment would be individualized to them. So the real key between knowing what the person needs and being able to actually individualize that treatment to bring them more in tune with nature and the flow and ebb of nature and the way that it is in the world is the real goal behind classical 5-element acupuncture.